Bear with me, gotta do my best. It's loud in here. Well, yeah, this your boy J Fat J Figgity and the Biggity, Chapter 4, Comforting Crossroads. The first thing I remember about Stewart wasn't the house, it was the backyard. There was a park style bench with a table sitting out back, and for the first time in my life, I had space that felt like mine. Before that, life had been mostly apartments, uh, neighbors through the walls, and learning how to survive inside boxes. Stewart felt different. Stewart felt like room, so I filled it. Friends came over, family came over, my nieces and nephews came over. People who needed me somehow always ended up finding me. And if I'm being truthful, I liked it. By then, survival wasn't new anymore. I already knew how to survive. Now I was learning something more dangerous: how to become infrastructure. How I worked ridiculous hours back then. Sometimes I worked, sometimes I skipped work, sometimes I came home exhausted in the early morning while the rest of the world was waking up. Money was okay, and money being okay changed things. I was transportation, I was reliability, I was solutions. I was the person people called when life stopped working. I helped friends get back on their feet. I helped family. People stayed with me. People rebuilt around me. And maybe the most dangerous thing about it, people rebuilt around it, and maybe the most dangerous thing about that period wasn't that life became easy. It was that life finally became smooth for me, or smooth enough that I stopped asking what it was costing everyone else. My girl at the time and I built a life together during these years. A real life, not a perfect life, but a real one. We spent years growing together, learning adulthood together, learning relationships together, learning who we were together. There were good times, there were laughter, there was freedom, there was experiences most probably wouldn't understand. The threesomes people imagine started because of her idea, not mine. My role was usually simple: meet the girls, bring them around, and make things happen. At the time, it felt normal because it belonged to us, or at least I thought it did. My girl at the time used to frown a lot during that period. Sometimes I came home when the sun was coming up. Sometimes I already worked ridiculous hours. Sometimes I had energy left, sometimes I didn't. When I asked what was wrong, usually nothing was wrong, or at least that's what I was told. Later years, I still don't know how much of that was true. Maybe she was unhappy. Maybe she wanted independence. Maybe she wanted to know if she could survive without me. Maybe two people can love each other and still slowly become strangers. What I know now is simpler. Building a life together and growing together are not always the same thing. It changed shape. Sometimes boundaries blur. Sometimes phones reveal things they probably shouldn't have. Sometimes conversations happen too late. Eventually, I found out someone I loved could look me in my face and still hide things from me. That changed something. Not overnight, not dramatically, but permanently. For a long time, I thought this lesson from Stewart was betrayal. It wasn't, or at least not completely. Because if I'm being truthful, Stewart was one of the happiest spirits in my life. I had my first backyard. I had people around me constantly. I had money. I had sex. I had friendship. I had responsibility. I had, most importantly, I had proof. Proof that the scared 17-year-old kid who left home could build something real. And I did. I built something real. The problem it was that I built it around being needed. People depended on me. Friends came when they needed me. Family kept it solid though. My relationships worked because I could provide things that made life easier. And somewhere inside all of that, I quietly revealed believing something dangerous. That being needed and being loved were the same thing. When Stewart ended, I didn't feel like I failed. I felt like something had been taken from me. Just uh, the girl that I was with at the time, and I had kind of a relationship people looked at, the kind people envied, the kind that made you believe maybe you figured something out early. That the kind that makes you then suddenly I didn't have it anymore. What came after looked impressive from the outside. Beautiful women, new experiences, new connections, more stories. But something strange started to happen. No matter how many times I replaced the faces beside me, the feeling never fully came back. For a while I thought that what came after Stewart was hunger for women. That wasn't it. What I missed was feeling chosen. What I missed was being able to point at my life and quietly believe I had figured this part out. The women that came after were real. The connections were real. The experiences were real. But the appetite has a strange way of lying because what I was feeding wasn't loneliness. It wasn't uncertainty. I didn't stop loving people. I didn't stop helping people. I didn't stop building. I just stopped trusting as easily. Fully trusting never really came back after that. I just became careful because careful people survive longer. But sometimes careful people pay for survival with closeness. Stewart gave me comfort. Stewart gave me power. Stewart gave me proof. And Stewart gave me crossroads. What I didn't understand was that after years of learning to earn love, feeling chosen could feel almost supernatural. I wouldn't realize how dangerous that was until later. All right, where you at? It's your boy J Fat. I definitely got to go now. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Appreciate y'all. Hope y'all like my stories.